What up, Jeff fam? How are you guys doing today? It's your boy, Coach Ed, in the building. I hope you guys are having a fantastic one. Please, if you're here, if you're watching, let me know. Pop it in the comments, swipe in, say hello. Let your boy know he is not talking to himself. Because I often feel like I'm monologuing with these things. Like, I like a little interaction. Let me know you're here. Swipe in. Let me just refresh my page here so that I do know you are in. So give me 2 seconds. But say hello, pop a comment. I know for a fact Pat Governor is going to be here because she always is. Tanya Barnard, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. As usual, I want you guys to grab a notepad, grab some water, get comfortable because school is in session. And I want you guys to really capture everything I'm about to say today. Hello, Chantel. Afternoon to you too. Hope you're having a fantastic one. Paul in the building. Hello, sir. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Paula. I butcher names on this show. So if you guys have been watching me for a while now, I'm a notorious name butcher. I am sorry. It's because I learned to read very late in life. Not really. That's the excuse I'm going with, though. Renee, hello. Hope you're doing well. Sharon in the building. I'm glad you're looking forward to this one. I am looking forward to this one too. Um, um, I uh, I get excited about these, but today I'm really excited about this one in particular. We have Eve in the building. Hello, Eve. Bronwyn. Sup, Bronwyn? Hope you're doing well. Come on, keep swiping in, guys. Let me know you're here. I like a captive audience. It helps give me the mojo to keep going. Haley, hello. Nikki Kemp, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Always in the building. Nene, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. See, I remembered Nene. Lindsay, hello, hello. Noel, what's up? So many familiar faces in the familiar faces, familiar names in the comment sections. I'm really glad you guys love tuning into these. Matt Wall, what's up, buddy? How you doing? I actually coached Matt for a while Coach Louis was on leave. He's one of Coach Louis' clients there. Hope you're doing well, Matt. Pat Governor in the building. Did I not tell you in the beginning she would be here? Always here. That's lovely. Okay, guys. Most of you were in the building. For those of you who have missed it, I want you to grab a notepad, grab a pen, grab some water. I want you to really sit back, relax, and absorb what I'm about to say. So, today we are talking about rest, recovery, and what to do for active recovery. So, what I want us to do, I'm going to get comfortable here because this is going to be one of those proper monologue days. Let's take a whole step back. Before I talk about rest and recovery and what active recovery you need to do, let's explore how the human body works for a second. So, the human body has a list of hierarchy things that it deems to be important. Top of that list, the end all be all of the human body is survival. That is pretty much, when it comes down to it, the only thing your body actually cares about is its own survival. Everything that your body does and supports basically boils down to it not dying. Let me give you some practical examples. Why do we have lungs and why do we breathe? It is because our cells need oxygen, and without oxygen, you will die. Thus, body has lungs, body breathes in oxygen, body lives. Why do we eat food? Why do we get hungry? Why is hunger such a powerful feeling when it is really severe? Because our cells need to be rebuilt after use. They are rebuilt using material in the world. That material in the world comes in the form of food. Thus, we need to ingest it, break it down, make it form part of our body cells, replenish our body cells so we do not die. Why are the vast majority of us human beings attracted to the opposite sex? We are attracted to the opposite sex because that is the manner in which we procreate. Procreating results in us replicating ourselves, meaning the survival of the species depends on it, so we as a collective do not die. Everything the human body does at its strongest ability is there to prevent us from dying, either as an individual or as a collective species. So that is the number one thing your body cares about. Everything else is secondary to that fact, survival. Okay, why are you telling us about this, Coach Ed? Well, the reason why I'm telling you about this is if we then take that sort of thought and apply it to other areas, you can start to delve the reason why exercise is important and why exercise works. So what exercise essentially is an environmental stress. Your body is perceiving an environmental stress upon itself because we have now exercised, our heart rate went up, our muscles really worked, and that process causes a little bit of micro damage. Your body now senses that micro damage and it's like, oh, wait, something's wrong with our lung tissue, something's wrong with our heart tissue, something's wrong with our muscular tissue. We've used a crap ton of energy. Something happened in the environment. I do not like it. We need to fix it. So your body repairs muscle tissue. It repairs the lung tissue, the heart tissue. The next time you eat, it replenishes your muscle glycogen stores. And it does that because if it does not address those problems, it will die. So exercise is an environmental stress that your body thus needs to recover and repair from. Why do you get fitter, stronger? Why does your ability to cope with exercise get better over time? It's because the next day you exercised again, your body realizes, wait a second, hold on, what's going on? We have the same exact stress on our body again. I don't want to keep repairing this thing over and over again. So this time I'm going to repair all these structures ever so slightly better than the first time. I'm going to make the muscle tissue a little bit denser. I'm going to make the lungs a little bit better at transporting oxygen. I'm going to make the heart muscle a little bit stronger. And thus the same stress will not injure us the same way it did before. And then you do another training session and another one and another one. And then years later, your muscles are stronger, your lungs have more capacity, your heart muscle is stronger. And the same workouts that used to risk your health and wellness and almost kill you are now your warm-ups. And that's because your body, through trying to ensure its own survival, built you a little bit stronger afterwards. So a little bit of that micro trauma you feel is like the soreness you get the next day after a workout and sometimes worse 48 hours afterwards, called DOMS, delayed onset of muscle soreness, which is basically a inflammation response that's a signal to your body like, hey, some damage is happening here. We need to fix this because if we don't, it's going to hinder our ability to survive. So it all goes down to your body is prioritizing survival. And because it's prioritizing survival, it needs to repair a little bit stronger, make you stronger. And that is basically how the whole exercise process works. That's why you get better through exercise. So what I need you to now take from this and understand is that exercise is the stimulus that triggers your body to get better. It is not the actual process your body uses to get better. Let me say that again. Exercise is this original stimulus that forced your body to decide to get better. It is not the process in which your body gets better. The process your body gets better is when it is recovering from the exercise. So now you can start to see where I'm going with this, because what happens when you do not give your body adequate resources or adequate time to repair and recover from the stress stimulus you gave it in the first place? It doesn't recover, it starts to break down, and you slowly, progressively get worse and start affecting your body's ability to survive. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the long-winded way of trying to tell you why rest days are important, because it is during rest days when your body repairs itself and starts the process of getting better. If you ignore rest days completely, you are hindering your own body's ability to fully recover from the stress stimulus you have given it, and thus it never really gets the chance to build itself a little bit better than it was last time. That whole process takes time. There are other things that are important in the whole equation, such as, are you drinking enough water? Because we are made up of like about 80% water. Without water as a resource, you're basically trying to build a building with no cement or with no water in the cement mixture. You get what I'm trying to say? It's a very important resource. If you're lacking water, you are lacking resources in order to build your body stronger. You are hindering your own growth potential. If you are not sleeping enough, because sleep is the bulk of our repair processes in our body happen during sleep. And again, your body has a list of hierarchies of things to repair. Your brain being top priority, your heart, your liver, your lungs, all those being top priority. Your muscle tissue, bottom of the list. So if you're only sleeping 5 hours a night, your body starts fixing your brain first, starts with your liver, starts with your heart. Oops, you woke up, there was no time to fix your muscles. I guess we're going to have sore muscles today, which is why sleep is important, because the body needs adequate time to get through its checklist of things to repair. So sleep also falls into that. So you can quickly see why coaches always preach, you need to have your rest day. You need to be drinking water. You need to have enough sleep. Because those are all fundamental resources and tools your body utilizes in order to repair itself. Are we good? Are we covered? Does this all make sense? Stop me at any time. Not that you can. Okay, cool. So now into the meat and potatoes of what I'm trying to tell you today. Now we've talked about why rest days are important in the first place, but you're like, Coach Ed, I feel good, I'm energetic, I don't want to miss an opportunity to better myself. Do I really have to take a rest day if I feel good? And the short answer is yes, you need to take a rest day. But longer answer, your rest day does not necessarily mean you're doing nothing all day, because the body is often really confusing and some of the things it does sound very counterintuitive. Ironically, in most instances, your body recovers a little bit better and a little bit faster while being active. I know, doesn't make any sense to me either, but that's what the science shows and that's how the body seems to work. It does its own thing. But the important bit here is that that activity should not mimic the initial stress it is trying to recover from. Meaning, it is important to be active and do active recovery days during your training, but that active recovery session should not mimic what the original stress your body is trying to recover from. So I often hear people saying like, oh, I do HIIT sessions during the week. It's my primary mode of exercise. And if that is your primary mode of exercise, great selection. HIIT sessions for the win. And they say, oh, but I do LIIT sessions on my day off. And I'm like, those two activities are same WhatsApp group. LIIT sessions aren't low intensity sessions, they're low impact. The only difference between a HIIT and a LIIT is your HIIT sessions have more impact forces involved in the exercises. You're doing more jumping, more running, more high knees, more instances where your foot leaves the ground and then impacts with the ground pretty hard. LIIT sessions, similar exercises, but without the impact forces. So instead of doing a jump squat, you're doing a normal squat. Instead of doing clap push-ups, you're doing normal push-ups. Fact of the matter is, though, you're still doing a squat and you're still doing a push-up. The stress you are eliciting is still way too close to the original stress that your body is trying to recover from in the first place. So how do we fix this? What's a rest day activity? You need to do something that does not elicit the same level of stress that the body is trying to recover from. So if you're doing 5 HIIT sessions a week, an appropriate rest day activity would be a walk. If you're a little bit fitter, a run might be considered a rest day activity. Flow and stretching is definitely something you need to put into the equation, because the act of stretching and working on our mobility is a massive benefit in order to recovery in terms of muscle tissues, because typically HIIT sessions tend to want to shorten muscle fibers and make them a little tougher, contract, a little bit harder to move. You balance that out with stretching them and making them a little bit more supple. The two activities together lead to a perfectly balanced muscle. So flow is something I'd really recommend. swimming, hiking, basically any Zumba. Like Zumba is big right now. Have you guys checked out Zumba classes? Like you need to check those out. It's so much fun. Even for a guy like me who has 2 left feet. So it's activities where you're still increasing your heart rate somewhat. You're still getting blood flow to move throughout your body a little bit faster. You are aiding oxygen penetration throughout your whole body, but you're not eliciting the same type of muscle damage or environmental stress that your main training sessions elicit. Now, it is going to be slightly different for everyone depending on what your fitness levels are, what your individual capacity to recover is, how much sleep are you in particular getting, how much water are you in particular getting, because all of these factors sort of add together to create your particular scenario. So whereas like for instance, for me, I'm a powerlifter. That's my main sport at the moment. My training partner Nicole, she can handle 7 training sessions in a row and not be broken at the end of it. If I do more than 3 in a row, my body starts to fall apart. And it just goes down to females tend to have a little bit more endurance capacity and that sort of thing than males do. So for her, she can maybe handle to push herself a little bit further for a little bit longer than I can. She eventually does need a rest day for optimal performance, as do I. But when we need those rest days, does have a little bit of individual variance. Also, she doesn't wake up as early in the morning as I do, so she tends to have a little bit more sleep, and that could also explain as to why she can go a little bit longer than I can. Individual variance comes into play, is the point I'm trying to make here. Okay, cool. So we've covered why exercise works. We've covered how you need to think about why you need rest days. We've covered how you need to structure these rest days. I also want us in the whole story of recovery to talk about how many training sessions in a day is adequate and how many is too much. Now, there's a growing misconception, if I can put it that way, that more is better. So if doing Jono's class at 8 o'clock in the morning is really good for my fat loss journey, then doing Ryan's core galore beforehand, doing that HIIT session, and then doing a flow class afterwards has to be 3 times better, right? Not quite. Not at all, actually. Because when it comes to training and eliciting a response, yes, calories in versus calories out is the biggest piece of the puzzle you're trying to solve for, but it isn't the only piece of the puzzle you're trying to solve for. There are other puzzle pieces that form around it, and by focusing solely on the one, you're doing that at a detriment to all the others. So again, individual variance, some people can handle a little bit more than others, but there is an optimal level of stimulus. So think of it as like a bell curve. So it starts off low on one side, raises up, and then comes low to the other side. At the opposite ends of the bell curve, you have someone doing 0 exercise, you have someone doing 10 hours of exercise a day, and you have someone in the middle who is doing a HIIT session and a flow session and is maximally stimulating their body while still keeping their body in a place where it can recover. So again, individual variance, so it's a little bit hard to program for all of you. It's going to be a little bit different for everyone. So reach out to one of the coaches, pop a comment down below, DM the coaches and ask, listen, here's my background, here's how old I am, here's my previous exercise experience, what is the appropriate level of programming for me. They'll have a conversation, we'll try and figure it out because it's a little bit different for everyone. Best place to find out is a little bit of trial and error, but you want to be looking at things like your sleep quality, like is your ability to sleep being impacted by how much exercise you're doing? Because often signs of overtraining is if you are training too hard, it starts to bleed into you're not able to sleep as well. Again, sounds counterintuitive, but the body is weird like that. So signs of overtraining or under recovering can be your sleep patterns are messed up, your appetite tends to be suppressed a little bit or ramped up to the extreme, depending on the reasons why you're fatigued. Irritability, your digestive system starts to go a little haywire, you have a constant lack of energy. These are some of the signs when you're pushing the throttle a little too much and you need to back off a little bit. Also, as one client of mine tends to experience, is they can go pretty balls to wall for an extended period of time and then find they catch themselves in a massive blowout 2 or 3 or 4 weeks down the road where their body just doesn't want them to do anything and they sort of start to get a little bit niggly, start to get a little bit injury prone. That's another way of your body letting you know, listen, you're doing too much. I can't keep up with you. I can't recover from this. So you need to listen to your body and start planning things a little bit more, not conservatively, but middle of the road. So doing 1 or 2 sessions a day, a HIIT session and a flow session, taking rest days twice in the week, that's a really good cadence. Only doing 2 HIIT sessions, 3 flow sessions and 1 walk, that's a good cadence. The answer to health and fitness often lies in the middle. Doing 7 HIIT sessions back to back in a row, volume is too high. And yes, you're burning a lot of calories, but you're also now risking injury. And the time you saved by pushing that hard is going to be balanced back by getting an injury and not being able to train for the next 3 weeks. So it always balances out somehow. Your body always finds a way to balance the scales. You don't want to push too hard that we risk injury, that we risk not recovering. I hope I made my point. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the comments below. I'm going to surf through now and see what you guys are asking. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. I can identify with overtraining, Nikki Kemp says. When I was training intensely for my marathon last year, my sleep was drastically impacted and still is to a point. And that's the problem with the human body, is it's oftentimes very unforgiving to these type of things. A quote I like going back to is, you have to listen to your body whispering before it needs to shout at you. So that's normally what, your body gives you subtle signs at first that something is wrong. You need to learn and be intuitive with your own body and learn to listen to those subtle signs before your body's like, okay, listen, you're not listening. I'm just going to slap you with an injury and I'm going to force you to recover. Megan says, should you adjust your caloric intake on your rest days? That is actually a very good question. So now, yes and no. When you're a little bit further along in your journey with health and fitness and you want to try and complicate things a little bit and you have the background knowledge to complicate such things for yourself, there is a benefit to calorie cycling. But the benefit you would get from calorie cycling and the level at which you're complicating the whole matter often doesn't quite equate right. It's oftentimes a lot simpler and a lot more foolproof to account in what your calories are and average them out. So my caloric deficit should be 500 calories on my training days, and only 200 calories on my non-training days. I'm going to average those out to about 350 calories on average and then keep my calories for the week the same. Your weekly caloric deficit and the caloric balance oftentimes matters more than what the daily fluctuations are. Aliki, I hope I pronounced it right, asks, can you cycle the day after a HIIT class, and what about weight training? So cycling and HIIT, very two different activities, don't tend to cause the same type of stress. So you can do those activities back to back. You still need to moderate your effort level. So going a 10 out of 10 on a HIIT session and a 10 out of 10 on a spinning or cycling session, you're still causing a lot of overall stress onto the body. So you need to undulate how hard each activity is. But doing a 10 out of 10 and then a 7 out of 10, the two activities are a little bit different, and you are moderating how hard you're hitting each one. You can definitely add those in. Weight training and HIIT sessions, depending on your previous experience and your fitness levels, can either be treated as similar because the movement patterns are similar, although the intensity of which, and intensity in this regard refers to amount of weight used as compared to 1 rep max. So the weight training sessions use heavier weight, but you're still doing a press-like movement with dumbbells, with a press-like movement with a push-up, a squat, which is body weight, or a squat, which is weighted. The movements are very similar. So you can treat them as similar activities, but their intensities differ. So if you're used to 5 weight training sessions a week, then taking a weight training session away or adding a HIIT training session into that, the HIIT training session is going to be similar, but at a lower intensity or neuromuscular stress than the weight training session. But again, it all depends on your particular fitness levels. If you're someone who's not used to HIIT and you're not used to weight training, then you can pretty much treat them as a one-to-one because that level of stress is going to hit your body the same way. So it all depends on your particular journey, but I would treat them as being similar because the movement patterns are similar. Esmarie, if you are resting and just doing flow, is that fine? I see a lot of people doing runs on rest days. Flow, like in the hierarchy of what I think rest day activities are, your ability to work on your mobility, your stretching, and flow is number one. That is the number one rest day activity you can and should be doing because that is directly addressing the primary problem that the HIIT training sessions cause. And that is just muscle damage, muscle tightness. So you're actively working on addressing that main downfall of that type of training. So flow is number one. Running, again, if you're someone who is used to running and you're a good runner and you're comfortable with running and you're able to run 5Ks pretty comfortably, then doing a 2K or 3K or a slow 5K on your rest day is something your body can handle, and it's a different enough stress to a HIIT training session that your body should be able to recover from. Again, individual variance takes place here. Some people can handle longer runs, some people can't. If I was to run on my rest days, my body would be wrecked the first week. I'm a bigger guy, I'm not a good runner. That would be considered a high level stressor for me. So my rest days do not consist of running, but if you are someone who is a natural runner or you enjoy running or you're used to running, then it is something you can put in. But flow is number one. Seema, what is the maximum time for skipping? I love skipping. I do 1 hour every second day. Is that okay? Because you've built up your fitness level to a point where you can do an hour of skipping every other day, it is probably fine. Skipping predominantly hits your calf muscles in terms of a muscular point of view. And then it's also a type of cardio because then your heart and lungs are the next physiological components to be stressed. So I wouldn't consider it a heavily stressing activity. So it is probably fine. But again, it all depends on the entire context of what you're doing because an hour of skipping is actually a decent amount of exercise to be doing. So it all depends what the rest of your week of training looks like. But I don't see an immediate red flag with that. Have I gotten to all the questions? Keep asking them, guys. This is your opportunity to get some one-on-one time with Coach Ed. Which is a rare thing these days. Like for those of you who might be interested, because I've gotten a couple of DMs, I only have 2 slots available for next week's start on the one-on-one program. So if you have been thinking about getting me as a coach, you're running out of time. I need you to hop on that. So if you want me specifically, DM me. You'll find me in the comments. Send me a message. Let me know because I'm only taking direct signups right now. Because your boys become popular. Your boys become popular. Heaven knows why. Heaven knows why. Let's see. It's telling me to scroll up. There might be more questions at the top. Flow and guided walks sound like a good rest day. Flow and guided walks are indeed a good rest day. The guided walks done by yours truly are they are designed to be intense as far as an intense walk can go, but still undulating how much effort you're giving into the session, undulating how much stress you're giving into the session, and sort of working an overall plan. So if you're doing 5 HIIT training sessions, 2 or 3 or 4 guided walks into the mix, depending on their length, are a really good rest day activity to add in. And if there are any more questions, comments, queries, I'm gonna be in the comments section for a while. Pop them on there. I would love to get in touch with you. If you want a little bit more advice, something a little bit more specific to you, give me a DM. I can give you a call and find out your particular situation, and we can get chatting according to that. I have been Coach Ed. You have been amazing, and I will see you guys in the next one.